My family arrived in Hornepayne 34 years ago with our daughter Melissa in tow. And I was employed by the municipality for 26 years as Director of Recreation. During that time, I also was elected member of the former Hornepayne Board of Education that we had here for 8 years. And it was always a pleasure to be there, and I have fond memories of the members that were on the board. Currently, some of the things I was involved with, very quickly, numerous committees over the last 34 years, hundreds of them, but lately I was a Hornepayne 90th Anniversary Committee. I'm very proud I assisted the Bike Skate Park to apply for the Ontario Trillium Foundation with Ginger, and obviously we got the grant, so I was very pleased that that happened for us. I'm a chair delegate for the Hornepayne Nordic Trade Union for 17 years. And my biggest thing, when I arrived at the council table, I always emphasize communication to the public. That's 4 years ago. After the council agreed to have the live streaming program to be in effect, I was given the go-ahead to investigate. All the information that quotes technology, it is sitting at the CEO's desk, waiting for the new council to decide to move forward. All the information is there, the setup, the training. So yes, I envision that, and I'm hoping that the new council, whoever they are, proceed, because that's open concept, transparency 100%. The meetings will be taped, excuse me, and you will see at your own time. So that's one thing that I'm very pleased that I was part of. On the nuclear waste, I'm just going to touch it very quickly. On May 7th, 2018, I passed a resolution on behalf of council, item 235. I felt that was such a decisive issue for our community. I, as one member of council, did not get a grasp if people are totally against it or for it. I request to have a plebiscite. A plebiscite just tells me what you are going to tell me. Do you wish to have it or not? It's a non-legal binding. It gives us an input what the citizens want overall. You want to be afraid to say which side they are. When that was presented on May 7th, excuse me, we had 3 council voted against it. 1 member abstained, and I was the only person that voted for plebiscite because I wanted to have, again, the community. It's not my decision as member of council, it's the community's decision. And that was my goal. It didn't occur. We'll travel further on that. A discussion just recently took place at the council table where the influx of people are coming in. I wasn't aware. I don't recall CN ever telling me they're going to hire hundreds and whatever. So there was no communication between CN and corporations as far as I'm concerned. Now we have a dilemma. We have no homes to accommodate these people. The bottom line is, let's look at mobile park. Let's allow temporary trailers to be on properties they purchased temporary for now until they get the house built. There has to be some way to figure this thing out. And Northern Store, yes, weight training, library, municipal office has to go in there, and the sooner the better, because it has to be done that way. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow candidates. Just to let you know, I'm new at public speaking, so you will have to excuse me if I have some stumbles along the way. I am impressed with all the number of candidates that are interested in becoming one of 4 councillors to represent the town of Hornepayne. Over the years, I have seen quite a few changes in our community with the modernization and relocation of major jobs and businesses, with the result being a real blow to our town. With that being said, it has greatly increased the burden on the taxpayers. There are a number of concerns I have as a taxpayer. One of them being the cost overruns due to water breaks and how ACLA resolves it. Out-of-town contractors are brought in and paid travel expenses, where there are contractors in town with machinery that could do most of this work. The roads in town are not in the greatest shape. The cost to repave is probably not feasible, but the shoulders of the roads have been shrinking below the asphalt. The shoulders need to be raised to try to prevent further damage to the pavement. Also, when the road superintendent retires, I feel the job should be revamped to a working lead hand, which would save costs and save hiring another employee. Every year, I hear comments about whether or not the arena will open due to the cost to operate. We want families to stay in Hornepayne, and the new families coming into Hornepayne to have this facility. The town also has the old Northern store, which could be used for the gym, and thus freeing up the curling club room for hockey tournaments and curling activities, and also rental space for other events. Travel expenses are something that needs to be addressed. I would also like to look into impact and how they assess our properties. Okay, nuclear waste has become a huge factor in this election. I am not for nuclear waste being brought down. That being said, I'm asking for your vote in making me a councillor with many issues that need to be attended. Thank you, and I would like to wish all candidates good luck in the upcoming election.
For any of you that don't know me, my name is Belinda Kistemaker. I've been a resident of Hornepayne for most of my life. Besides working for my family business, Kenneth Kistemaker, I'm a father, husband, and a volunteer. I'm committed to Hornepayne and have always tried to do what I can to help the community. This commitment has shaped my decision to run for council. I have served on the Community Recreation Committee, and I've also have a long history involved in the Hornepayne Minor Hockey Association. For more than 10 years, I've been a volunteer, coach, board member, as well as president. This experience is very hard work, and it wasn't easy, but it was a very fulfilling to help committed volunteers build the rewarding youth program. The involvement in minor hockey taught me the importance of being available to listening to concerns of the community. It taught me the importance of respecting the financial investment of the families, as well as the importance of containing costs and being fiscally responsible. It taught me how to develop relationships between businesses and other partners within and outside the community, and occasionally how to mediate the odd disagreement. And sometimes it was harder than others to come to solutions to these conflicts, but we always were able to resolve them. As a businessman in Hornepayne, I appreciate the challenges that we face operating a business in the community, and the challenges of attracting new investment, pardon me. I feel it is very important to have a business perspective on the town council. I feel that during times when we are facing growing costs of water and sewer, it is critical that we seek creative solutions to make Hornepayne attractive to business and new residents. I feel it is important to work with businesses to support their initial investment in the community. I would encourage council to develop appropriate incentives to make our community more attractive to business investment. The big white elephant that everybody says. I appreciate that the NWMO process has been quite contentious. I support the current Learn More process and the investment the NWMO has made in our community. That being said, I respect the democratic process and would support the decision of the community for a plebiscite. Finally, I feel council needs to support and maintain community recreation services. I feel the arena, curling rink, and the weight room are more to this community than just a line item on the annual budget. These resources enhance quality of life, build opportunities for our children, and community spirit. These resources are critical to attracting new community members, whether it's business or residential. The needs of our community change over time. We must work together to maintain a healthy outlook for the future of our town. I will be the councillor that communicates well, encourages the community, listening to residents' concerns, and works hard to find fresh solutions. I feel Hornepayne has a bright future, and I'm determined to make a positive difference in our community. Thank you.
never wrote anything there. I just got so much stuff going through my mind that it wouldn't have worked anyways. So I just want to, if you don't know me, my name is Nick Doyle. I've been living in Hornepayne for 38 years. My family next year has been here for 100 years. And I love Hornepayne, and I want to see nothing but the best for this town. And having a business background, turning a small business into a flourishing business, I feel that I could bring a dynamic onto the council that could help make Hornepayne prosperous. I think we need to go back to the basics. We need to concentrate on what we have here and rebuild from there. There's so much to do. I need to get into the town council and look and see what's going on. I can't really tell you what I'm going to do or the ideas I have until I get in there, because I don't really know. I'd be lying to you if I told you. But if you did vote for me and I got in there, I would do my best to do nothing but the best for the town, and I'd like to see it. Hornepayne is, in my opinion, is a jewel of a town, and there's no reason why we shouldn't be booming the way, more. We got major industry here. There's no reason why Hornepayne shouldn't be booming. There's lots of things to look at and to do, and with a little bit of time and learning, I think I can help make Hornepayne prosperous and move on to the future, and to show the rest of show everybody that Hornepayne is a great place to live, and we have a lot to offer. Like especially if you're an outdoorsman, we got so much to do around here, and not very good at public speaking, but I'll do my best to help if I get voted in. Thank you very much.
I want to thank our municipality for the past 8 years of allowing me to act as your spokesman at home and abroad. And to our great and hardworking and harmonious staff who made all of the decisions of council work. Without them, we can't go ahead. And all to the candidates that are up here on the stage that are willing to put themselves forward to make sure that Hornepayne has the best future. They too need to understand that working for the community is a big challenge. So on to challenges. Challenges that we've completed so far is that we've dug ourselves out of a $300,000 deficit from 8 years ago with the town center closing up. Our broken infrastructure has largely been dealt with. The water tower, when I first saw it, had bungee cords and lock pliers on it to keep it from falling apart. We started fixing that. We've been fixing them ever since. We went on from the water tower to the wastewater plant with a $4 million bill there, and it broke the day that we were deciding finally to get the authorization from the Ministry of Environment on whether they would allow us to do that. It broke, and they gave us the authorization. The water treatment plant was also just coming to commission when we first took over 8 years ago, and it was a nightmare. All kinds of different changes, and we managed to get that commissioned, and it's going well. We do have another challenge, and that's looking after the water distribution plant, or the distribution system, which is currently being studied to make sure we know what's going forward there. And the amount of work handled by the township staff is tripled, and is driving all of the township staff a little bit on the crazy side. The challenges ahead, and one of them is a major, and that is the fire certification program that you just heard about. We could very easily not have a fire department if we can't convince the provincial government to change some of the requirements for that. The people that are fire workers right now, firemen and firefighters, can be grandfathered, but a lot of those folks move along fairly quickly, and next thing you know, we'll have to certify everybody, and we just can't afford to have people away for 7 weeks. So we're working diligently with all of our associations to make sure that the deadline of July 2019 gets changed so that we can phase those people in. We're currently working on a broadband system right now amongst the several communities around Wawa, Duverville, White River, and Chapleau, and 4 of the First Nations groups that are Pick River, Michipicoten, and a couple of them from Chapleau, all banded together to make sure that we have good broadband here so that we can offer additional incentives for people to come here. Landfill is a big problem, and Willie spoke to that earlier, and recycling, tires. We don't have the ability to do a lot of these things because it's just too expensive. And then on it goes to NWMO. Don't listen to the distractions and distortions and rumors and innuendo. This is a good business. There's not a lot of businesses coming to Northern Ontario, but this one is, and it's a good opportunity for all of us First Nations and this community. So vote Forster. Thank you.
A little bit of my background, for those of you that don't know me. I came to Hornepayne in 1964 as an equipment operator, building Highway 631 South to White River. When that was finished, I was employed at Alison Timber Company for a few years. And then in 1979, I hired on with the township as an equipment operator. Later, I became the road superintendent until I retired just a few years ago. My employment with the township was for 32 years. While working at the town, I was also airport manager when that guy resigned. I took over recreation when he resigned. For a couple of years, I was a member of the cemetery board, the landfill steering committee. I was on the board of directors for AMCO, Airport Manager Council of Ontario. I was a captain on the Hornepayne Fire Department. And I was formerly on the board for the Northern Credit Union, and I am presently a member of the NWCLC. I've attended hundreds of council meetings. I know what the format is there as a department head, and I also attended many training courses with the township offered at the time because it's through good roads, and that's something I think we should do, to send our people away, to train them for the job that they're doing, keep them current with the systems that are coming up. And I feel I have the knowledge of the township's operations and the experience as part of a team to share with the rest of council to accomplish what needs to be done for the betterment of Hornepayne. I'm now retired and have time to commit to help some and getting things done. Some of the things I would like to see happen would be going back to doing more of our own work instead of contracting out. It makes me sick every time to see a backhoe come in here to fix a water line. But that's the way it is, yes? And this would mean having maybe to upgrade our equipment, and also like to see more done for our seniors, especially during the winter. You know, simple thing like that their driveways are icy, bring them a little bit of sand, put it down, so they can get out without falling and hurting themselves, or making sure the driveway is clean. Like these people made this town, so I think we should look after them. And all I gotta say, if I'm elected, I will work with the rest of council to the best of my ability to improve our community. Thank you.
So my name is Jon Peroff. I'm an entrepreneur here in town. I'm a business owner, and I'm an advocate for change. If elected as a councillor, my goals are to develop an avenue to attract new entrepreneurs and businesses to our community. Not much different than most of what we heard here tonight. I would also like to continue to advance the use of technology in the office. So one of the biggest challenges we face is to build a stronger local economy. And I believe the best way to do this is by supporting local businesses and ideas and providing the help and encouragement needed to succeed. I hear so many great ideas, but that's where it stops. I think what we need to do is move it forward and get these ideas done. To help and support, the help and support could possibly come from in the form of reduced or deferred taxes on new properties, guidance and direction from the town office maybe, I'm thinking one of the first businesses we need to do is short and long-term accommodations. And if elected, one of the ideas I would like to do and bring forward is to explore the idea of a nonprofit organization and work in conjunction with the town. That way, any profit would go right back into the town. So to me, that would fulfill two commitments, and that would be building new accommodations, and it would put more money in the town coffers. With the technology, I think we can use it to make the office and field work more efficient and reduce costs in that aspect. I feel we need some big investments into this town, or we just might not make it. The world's changing and it's becoming much more competitive, and I feel if we don't innovate, move forward, we're just going to fade away. And so I believe with my background, I would provide a new perspective and freshness in the matters and help build our economy. Again, my name is Jon Peroff, and I'm running for council.
My name is Kenneth Fraser. I've been a lifelong resident of Hornepayne. I love our community. This year, when the audit produced the financial statements, there were indeed 62 properties that were not paying taxes, including abandoned ones, but that was not the reason for the deficit. The deficit was the cause of the fuel spill at the town grad. Legal fees was another issue. The auditor stated that other costs with Aqua was another factor, and the cost that he had rented empty northern store for 8 years. I've worked at CN for 40 years. My volunteer experience as a union leader, health and safety representative for 30 years. It'd be an asset to council's table representing you. The ratepayers would be accountable for every dollar of your tax dollars, provincial dollars, service fees, water and sewer rates. I believe wholeheartedly in democracy, accountability, and transparency. I believe that everyone should be allowed to exercise their voices in one way or another. Sometimes that calls for strike action or strategic campaign when you're not being heard. I have a vision of our community coming together to look out for the best interest of our seniors, elders, young couples, young families, and low income, along with everybody else, the way it used to be. Sometimes no, we need to, as council, pave the way for future generations. We need to leave a template for them to follow. We need to partner with Hornepayne First Nations to bridge the gaps in funding services, healthcare, senior care, infrastructure, and not throw them to the side like what has happened since 2014. The First Nations bring federal dollars into our communities when they partner with them. In the public meeting at the Legion, Hard Gold said that they wanted to set up in Hornepayne and White River. I saw hope and opportunity for Hornepayne. They need to feel welcome in our community, and we need to welcome them. There are 90 red path mining jobs, 35 hard gold jobs. Hornepayne Lumber is trying to get a third shift. Oliver's Fresh Mart is trying to fill positions. The hospital is trying to fill positions. CN Rail is hiring conductors like crazy. And we have about 45 of them commuting from Hearst to work here. We have 73 lots that are owned by the township, many of which I feel are overpriced and need to be reduced and sold. Many of them are already serviced. A bylaw for trailer homes need to be rescinded and a new one developed, allowing for these on a permanent foundation and hooked up to water and sewer. Therefore, they would be taxable and would start to contribute to the tax base immediately. As a councillor, my experience would be an asset when it comes to major infrastructure projects, developing policies and procedures. I will work with all the council to make sure that the best interest is looked after at all times with every decision that we make. I am committed to continue addressing the environmental and health and safety issues that affect our community, as I have always done in the past. For example, the 3 million liters of oil that are in our groundwater that I made public when the new water source was being investigated. This election should not be a referendum about nuclear waste. If it is, then there should be a separate ballot. Furthermore, Hartgrove wants to extend their prospecting north towards us, but the MWMO has blocked that area from prospecting, and they cannot. I'm honest, trustworthy, approachable, accountable, reliable, responsible, and I'm not afraid to take on new challenges.
Thank you. Can everybody hear me? Can everybody see me? Thank you for coming out tonight. I'm Alison Morrison. I was raised in Hornepayne. I went out into the world, got some life experience, got some work experience, and returned here to Hornepayne. For the last 2 years, I've been working in a senior management position at the Hornepayne Hospital, and through that journey, I've learned a lot. And I do feel that the things that I've learned there would be transferable in helping out our municipality. So my platform has 4 points. The first one being addressing the shortage of housing and the high taxes consequently. So the first thing is safe and affordable housing for seniors. And how we're going to go about doing that is we have to partner. So if the municipality, the hospital, and the healthcare funders, as well as First Nations, get together at a table, we can make this happen. Ministries give money to those that partner. We can't continue to work in silos. The other housing idea is that actually Councillor Cheryl touched on, is that we've got those properties that need to be developed, and I see potential in developing them by situating modular homes. It's about $130,000 for a base model. If we can give these properties cheaply, $130,000 for a turnkey home is a doable plan. And I think that, you know, there could be incentives if we ordered them in bulk. The third thing is I think that the community has asked about putting up mobile structures to address the short-term problem, and I think that that's something that we really seriously need to look into in order to prevent the people who are commuting from afar and are working here. We need them here so that they can establish their family roots here and so that they can spend their money here. So my second point is to operationalize our strategic plan. We've got a strategic plan, and we need to start building goals so that we can get to where we want to be. That strategic plan is our roadmap. It talks about planning to be a resilient and self-reliant community. And in order to do that, we need to get away from the wage-based economy of transient workers, which Hornepayne has become. We need to encourage entrepreneurs to invest in areas such as tourism, ecotourism, and agriculture. My third point is about streamlining processes. There are inefficiencies that will save us money by creating consistent processes, checklists, to ensure that things are being done correctly every time. I've been to a handful of council meetings, and I do see that there are some areas that can be improved on. In healthcare, before surgery, it's a required practice to go through a checklist. It's called a sentinel event when a patient is harmed. In a municipality, it's called a waste of taxpayers' dollars. So I think that we need to focus in on that. The other thing is communication and engagement. I talked a little about how I think that the council team needs to develop a strategy for that.
Thank you very much.
We have many assets within Hornepayne, and our greatest is our people. As a longtime resident, active volunteer, and community member, I believe I can make a difference in the municipal level. My goals are to engage, plan, communicate, implement, and sustain. By engaging our community members through engagement on Committee of Council, by establishing a two-way communication strategy between council and community members, we are using the greatest asset, the people. Taking the councillor's course, we're here to serve the community, and we cannot do this effectively if voices are not being heard. Yes, water and taxes are high, I feel it. Recreation is important and essential, I know it. Municipal taxes are over budget, I've read it. Moving forward, as a community, we need to plan. I want a blueprint that we can follow. This is done by updating the municipal official plan, which I understand hasn't been revised since 1983, by completing a community development plan, by implementing our strategic plan. These plans allow us a vision for the future and allow us to move forward in a strategic way. This would take pressure off the council and staff. Now we're being proactive, not reactive. The 3 plans give us a direction to follow. We need to sustain what we have in a more cost-effective manner. We need to plan our future, create a 2-way communication strategy, and implement planning documentation. Do I have the skills for the job? Do I have the background? I think I do. I have sat on numerous boards, 3 Bears Daycare, Children's Aid, Hornepayne Credit Union, and now the Hornepayne Economic Development Corporation. I have been involved in organizing and raising money for winter carnivals, swim club, student councils, curling events. I believe I can honestly say I've probably raised around close to $100,000 for this community. My business background, I have governance training through the Children's Aid. I have accounting experience, which includes audits and setting up accounting systems for 3 Bears Daycare, individual businesses, and the HEDC. I have HR experience, health and safety certification, general office experience. I have a certificate in recreation. I have forestry experience, and I have project management skills. With all my experiences and background, I really feel that I've actually been groomed for this position. I just need support from the community. So think outside the box, and please vote for me. Thank you.
Sherry Latosky. I have a question for Rob and for Bobby. Do you have any thoughts on staggering the work hours for town employees? I'm thinking in my mind about the PWD during winter hours, like during when the snow comes. Does it always have to be overtime on Saturdays and Sundays, or can we stagger the shifts? Or is it the law that they have to work in 2s? I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Usually what they do is have a guy on call to watch for the weekends. And there's a lot of times, I've been over to Kapuskasing, but they don't even plow the streets. You know? So, to save taxpayers' money, you can't be bitching when they don't get plowed on the weekend. But there is things that do need plowing, like the airport and stuff like that. But I don't know the contract between the town and the union. So, to honestly answer that correctly, I'd have to look at that.
I don't know if the regulations still exist, but there used to be a regulation that after 2 inches of snow, you should plow. The town that we live in, if you want to go play hockey or curl, you're going up a great big hill. You got 2 or 3 inches of snow, you're not getting up there. Hospital's the other way. You know, the ambulance got to get there. So, fire department has to get around. I think what you've got to do is keep your men working together, work as a unit, not one guy works here when he feels like it, and the other guy's over there doing what he wants. You've got to work as a team. And you have to have your work organized. Overtime was an issue when I was on there one year, and everybody got on it. Overtime. Every time it's Friday night, you put the guys in overtime. Well, if it snows Friday night, that's when you got to plow, okay? So I had a whole thing drawn up at council for the whole summer, winter overtime for all my guys. There were 72 hours of overtime. Now, to me, overtime is nothing. I don't care about overtime because all you're doing is paying the guys a little bit of overtime. That machinery doesn't cost any more to run on overtime than it does during the normal hour.
Bob, wrap it up.
Okay? So, well, anyways, no, I think you gotta do it. It depends what level that people want their streets kept at. Like he says, if you don't wanna do it, then don't try.
I'd like to ask Alison a question. Number 4, launch a collaborative engagement plan for residents of Hornepayne. How would you do that?
The residents of Hornepayne have spoken out that they feel that they want their voices heard. They want platforms to be able to express their views and be involved in what council's doing. And in order to do that, we need to work on what I'm calling it as a collaborative engagement plan, where we use different strategies such as the live streaming piece, holding meetings, having a task force where the community people can become part of the committee in order to get something done. I think that the areas of concentration need to be led, by the community's people and by council. So it's something that I think is important in order to, for council to communicate what's going on, as well as for the community to express their needs and desires to the council.
My question's for all of the new candidates. 4 years ago, we had an entire mayor and council that was acclaimed. This year, it's great to see 10 of you up on the stage. My question is, what's changed to cause you to put your name in the ring this year? Yeah.
Well, I decided to run for council because I think we need a change here. Everything seems to be going the same, and I think that we need to look at things outside the box and look at things differently and try to advance ourselves into the future. We need some new ideas out there and get the ball rolling. Hornepayne is, I don't know why it's not rolling, but it's not. It should be. We got to look into it. Like I say, if I was to get elected, I could get in there and look at everything and see what's going on, and maybe I'd have some good ideas to get things moving.
Hornepayne is my hometown, and I really feel that it's time for a change, and I feel that we're at a fork in the road with this white elephant, as we were calling it tonight. It's no secret where I stand on that issue, and I think that it's important that we make a decision one way or another. And I also think that we spent $43,000 on a strategic plan, and the direction that it's telling us to take are opportunities of agriculture, opportunities that get away from the wage-based economy. If we want to grow our community, we need people to settle here. And by getting into yet another wage-based economy, that's not in tune with that.
Thank you very much.
Actually, everybody, 4 years ago, I had really thought of being a councillor and running. Honestly, being a councillor is a lot of responsibility to the town. And at the time, I weighed it heavily, and I kind of thought, well, I didn't feel comfortable doing that because I didn't want to get in a position where I'd make the wrong decision, and so this year it's a little different. I'll try my best.
Okay, I decided to run this year because I'm retired and I have the time to put forward now. And I look around town and I see what's going on, and it seems to me that a lot of people that we have working for us just don't care or don't know. And I'm tired of seeing our infrastructure just fall apart because of the lack of proper maintenance, or the attempt to at least maintain it, okay? And that's what got me going here.
Well, I almost ran in the last election, but I wasn't retired and I was pretty busy. But now that I'm retired, I'd like to throw my name in the hat. I think we spend too much money on out-of-town contractors. That's one of my main issues. We need to give it the work to the contractors in town who pay taxes here, not to somebody else. There's just too much waste in that department. Another thing I'd like to see happen in Hornepayne is a trailer park. Now, some of you might get mad because you think they're slum places, but I'll tell you something. You do it right, young people live in a trailer, and when they have a couple kids, they buy a house. They sell that trailer to another young couple. You'll grow out of the trailer. There's a lot of things that we can do in this town, and there's a lot of ways to save money. That's why I'm there.
The reason why I ran is I plan on retiring there in the new year. And another thing, I just don't like that I see that all our eggs are put into one basket. We should be partnering with Hornepayne First Nations. Like I said, there's federal dollars there that we're not getting. I hear that we partnered with other First Nations. I'd like to see what the amounts that came into the community. And we could be digging our own curb stops. Sometimes you don't even have to dig them. You can use a pressure vac truck. Like I see a lot of money being wasted, and that's why I'm here. Thank you.
I'm trying to decide which answer I want to give you. So, probably the icing on the cake is we were at an HEDC meeting and we had 3 council members come and attend our meeting. And what they were saying to us, I felt that we were going 10 years backwards. So here I am.
Thanks for the question, Matt. I'd love to say that it's because I'm retiring soon and I'll have a bunch of time, but I'm personally working on the Freedom 85 plan, so I got a ways to go. The last time around, as well as even 8 years ago, I was considering it, and I didn't feel that I was ready. And like I said earlier on my platform, being involved in minor hockey really helped me in my scope of the view of things, and I feel that I can work good as a community, as part of a team, and basically that's it. I feel I'm more than capable of handling the job now. Thanks.
Michael Dalton. Just got one question for you guys. Can you give me your best idea how you're going to bring businesses to Hornepayne?
We as council don't create jobs, we actually improve, drive the economy by bringing business in. The way you're doing it, obviously got to do something different, because it's just not happening. And I agree with some of the candidates, agriculture is obviously an avenue to pursue.
My best idea to bring business to Hornepayne is to promote Hornepayne. Like tourism, for instance, we're a mecca here. You don't see one sign in Hornepayne that promotes any tourism business in Hornepayne. Sometimes all it takes is a sign, you know.
Agriculture is coming north, and our partners to the north, they're all jumping on that bandwagon. There are incentives to be had, and I think we need to chase after those and build that economy here.
Thank you for the question. We are currently engaged in changing policies and developing policies, and one of those is a community improvement plan. With that community improvement plan in place, we'll be able to give those incentives to other businesses. As last week, I was in discussion with a hotel developer in the Sioux, and during those discussions, he's quite willing to come and build a hotel here. But we need to have our incentives in place so that we can give them a break on the taxes, to give them a break and a reason to come here. The other part is, and we're developing that too, is we're working in getting a labor market survey developed so that we know how many people don't have jobs and can have jobs, so that we can put people in these hotels to run them and look after all of the management of the hotels, and also a restaurant. So there's a lot of things that we're already doing to get this done, and I'm looking forward to your support so that we can continue that process.
This is going to be short and sweet. All I've got to say is try and promote Hornepayne and try and find some incentives that make people want to come here, not chase them away.
Okay, I think for me, I think it's the first thing that we need to do is have accommodations set up so that we can attract people into town. More people mean better opportunity and feasible for new businesses to start.
Okay, I don't have a solution, but I'll tell you this. We crunched the numbers. My son and I are building a 30-room motel, sticking our necks out and doing it with a bar and a restaurant. Impossible at the commercial rate of taxes and water. Would have killed us. It would have to be full year-round. So I don't know what the answer is. You're not going to get somebody to do anything in Hornepayne when they got to pay, when you're just going to go under because of the taxes and the water. Something's got to be done.
I'd say partner with surrounding communities, partner with Hornepayne First Nations. Like I said, there's lots of federal dollars available, and I don't hear too much of that. So I think that's two things you should look at. Thank you.
Do something with them all.
For the question, Mike, I'd love to have a brilliant solution. And the common theme is money and lack of, and resources to get it. And being part of a business and listening to other people in the community talk, it's the common problem of, I call it the mill rate, but it's a tax rate, I guess, is the new term, and our water bill is huge. But to get those down, you need numbers. And to get businesses to come into the community as well as residents to lower these fixed costs, we have to sweeten the pot. But Councillor Levick mentioned, and I would be lying if I even pretend to know the legalities of what you're allowed to present as tax breaks. So I believe that, like I said in my platform, you come up with creative solutions, and I think that includes thinking outside the box, getting out of that groove. It's always easy to take the path of least resistance.
Thank you
very
much.
Sometimes you gotta go out.
Hi, I probably know all of you, but for anybody who doesn't know me, my name's Rachel. I know that a lot of the candidates for mayor have talked about having an economic development officer. My understanding is that that person would take the ideas brought forward by council and help council figure out a way to make those a reality. So I want to know what industries you guys think, regardless of what the cost may be, because that can be worked out with an economic development officer and the rest of council, but what industries do you guys see bringing to Hornepayne?
What industry? It's going to be a vague answer. Any industry that can help pay into the tax system and help alleviate the water bills. And we are a natural resource and a sea and rail-based community, so I think those would be the two areas to look into. And the mining, I think that boat has sailed for a little while, and whether or not we can get some people to come from Hornepayne or not, I don't know the logistics of that, but yeah, basically anything that would help out.
We live in the middle of the bush. We have resources all around us. We have aggregate. We have trees that we can make into furniture, all that kind of stuff that we're not even looking at. It's time to look into all those things. Something to do with our natural resources.
You look at White River, they're a prime example of what happens when you partner with other partners and First Nations people. They get all kinds of funding, and they're booming. And I think if we do the same, we have an opportunity knocking at our door, and I think we should open it.
Well, folks, to tell the truth, I'm stumped. I really don't know what we can do. I don't. But I'm willing to try and learn. Thank you.
Okay, what industry comes to town? I think it really doesn't matter what the industry is. I think what we need is somebody to come to town and make a big investment in a community, wherever it happens to be. Now, I gotta tell you, we're staring at one right down the barrel. He's looking at us right now, and we're almost shutting the door in their face. We need to keep it open, at least to figure out what we're doing.
I don't know if you're gonna like this or not, but a couple of people have spoken to me about the cannabis thing. We got a big gray shack over there. I don't know if you could do anything in there to grow this stuff, but the money is there, I would imagine, with the government. And whether it's feasible or what, I don't know, but that's one thing to look at.
I think we're currently trying to bring another industry into this part of the community, or into this part of the country, and this community in particular. And we're looking forward to being able to partner with First Nations in this endeavor, and we're working for that as well. We have other businesses going on, such as broadband development, and that could end up being a business development engine as well, as we could develop that throughout the region. So what the business that we're talking about is NWMO, folks. This is a clean industry that will bring development for over 150 years in this part of the country. And I realize that there's a lot of folks that are misunderstanding the information that's been presented, but this is here right now, and you don't see General Motors trying to open up a plant here. But NWMO has us on the horizon, and we're a long way from being ever chosen for that, because there's still 5 others.
Thank you.
5 more years. So
Thank you, Kenneth Fraser.
Tourism, ecotourism, and agriculture. Those are the areas that I think we should focus on, and all of the suppliers and businesses that would come along with that. I think those businesses would bring families here and not transient workers.
I think that we need to go after what we already have here, CN, lumber, and tourism. I think if we go after them a little more, we could expand that way. They're already here. Hornepayne's been here for 90 years. It's going to be here for another 90 years. We just need to expand into those avenues.
One of the big dilemmas, as I see here, people that are running for, what do you attract? There's no question. That's why council made a decision as a team to hire an economic development officer. That person will not only engage the council, they will engage the whole community. That is a person that's expert in that area. I don't pretend to be. And I think also, yes, me while doing that, we should also partnership with different groups inside and outside our community, so we put it together, and whatever group is available, we should partner with them.
Hi everyone, my name is Krista. My question is for Mr. Forster. Can you shed any light or advancements that our community has made thus far in regards to senior housing?
As the chair of the Algoma District Services Administration Board, we're dealing with, and the Services Board is dealing with housing and homelessness. There's a review coming up next year on that particular front, and we've also recently acquired the necessary information to do a housing needs survey so that we can get the ADSAT to start building. In addition, with the number of properties that we've got available to us and the fact that there's no other entrepreneurs willing to build, the township will have to give real good consideration. It's been a long time policy that we wouldn't interfere with other service providers, other renters, but that's not working, so we'll have to very much consider building ourselves and using all of the other plans, even the small housing programs, to build on our lots so that people have a place to stay. But ADSAB is working on it on our behalf, and we will be looking forward to developing housing for our seniors as well as anybody else that needs to have a house.
My name's Greg Dane, and my question's to the future council members. If they'd have any objection to working with a citizens group to help and better our town through volunteering and stuff like that, if need be, for our workforce, kind of to clean the town up and get it ready for the big boom. Clean up buildings or whatever, do some work like the arena in Curling was built on volunteered hours. Maybe we could clean up our town the old way by the community kicking in.
I think volunteering is excellent. I volunteer a couple lot as well. The legality issues of actually building facilities or repairing them becomes illegality. I mean, I don't have it all day. I'm not an attorney at law, but I mean, I would welcome a group that, if within parameters, that would be covered under our insurance, that would help. I would welcome that.
I don't have any objectives to working with people. I think the more ideas we have, the better it'll be.
I think that's a great idea. I think that, you know, we need to come together and, you know, use our spare time to be productive in our community if we want to see it grow. Habitat for Hornepayne, let's get some of these properties cleaned up. I'm sure that there are some legal issues, and, you know, there should be somebody qualified as a project manager, but to clean up, I don't think there's any massive skills required for that, so I think that would be easy to organize.
As far as volunteers building in the community, I think we've already shown with the pavilion what a few volunteers can do in a very few weekends and make a positive influence on this community. When you're talking about developing housing on empty properties, there are some issues that the township has, and that's the legalities of having engineered drawings that you just don't go and slap something up. But if everybody is going to sign on to do these buildings and volunteer their time, we can look after that, and I look forward to being able to work with any of those groups.
Well, I think one of the biggest things you got to look at is liability. You get involved in too many things. You know, it's fine when everything's going good, but as soon as something happens and somebody gets hurt, everything goes to the wastebasket. So you've got to be careful what you're doing.
That's a pretty difficult question. You know, even getting volunteers to clean up or take down or fix property still costs money, right? As long as that work ends up in a return on your investment, I'm all for it.
Yeah, that's a great idea, and the Bauer family started it years ago when they put the sign up. This Second Government Road was maintained and cleaned by the Bauer family.
Thank you.
But the other thing is, my brother did a bunch of work with his equipment for the daycare, and he had to put up his $5 million insurance policy to go on that, have people there. So you got a big issue there.
Well, in Southern Ontario, they have Homes for Humanity and that, and I think maybe if you looked into it, there might be some legal ramifications, but I believe there's also ways around it.
I like the idea of Hornepayne,
To the mic, please.
humanity for Hornepayne, whatever. That's a good thing. I think if we were to look into how we started in other communities and see how they did it, why not? We can do it here.
Anytime that you can get a group of volunteers to make something positive happen, that just builds community spirit, builds the environment. It's just one of the things that we're trying to do is to make the community more attractive to come to. And if you've got great community spirit, the word gets out, it's just one more thing that you can add to it. I'm all for it, as long as, like Bob was saying, that the liability is taken care of and it's spearheaded correctly so that you're not stepping on the union's toes and, you know, once the legal issues were taken care of, it's a great idea.
Thank you very much.
My name is Lindsay Dasty, and I have a question for everybody up there tonight. My question to you is, how do you plan to involve me as a community member in any of the decision-making processes going forward?
Because part of my platform was to be an engaged councillor, and other candidates have mentioned possible liaison groups, which I agree with, and basically just being responsive to the needs of the community, and they change very in a short time. So that's all I can say, is just trying to be as responsible as possible and being part of a council that is engaged with the community.
I think your question was part of my speech. Basically, starting those committees and getting community involvement and making a difference that way. So, and two-way communication between council and the committees and the community. I think it's important.
I believe anytime there's anything that affects all the residents of the community, I think we should be canvassing the community and getting their insight and then going from there and getting the majority.
To involve you in the community, I would suggest that we have a council watch committee set forward, and people come out and get involved in listening to what's going on and staying on top of what's going on in the town instead of the Facebook stuff that we deal with. Thank you.
You made a good point there. I believe that you're electing a council to do the best job they can to work for you. I don't mind some input, but you know, if you don't have faith in your council, then not much sense in having them there. One of the best ways you can get involved is to attend the council meetings, because they're open to everybody. Instead of sitting back on the street criticizing or whatever, get in there and get involved. And you're allowed so much time to speak, so get your time in, make yourself heard, and that's the way I feel about it.
It depends on what the decision is. If it's a small decision, that's why you hire your council and your mayor. It's to make those decisions on your behalf. bigger decisions, yes, a committee or some other kind of work group involving the community is really what we need. Thank you.
We currently have numerous methods for the citizenry to contact the township office and make their wishes known. Of course, what Bob said is attend the council meetings. That's one of the best ways to indicate that you are interested, and certainly everybody here has shown that they're interested in the future of our community. But we've got green forms to fill out if you need some work done, or if you have a problem that you want to address, whether it's a street sign that needs to be moved, a culvert, or a repair to something on the road. So we've got a lot of mechanisms. We've got more mechanisms coming with the technological developments that we've got, even our Facebook and website. All of these things are so that we can communicate what we're doing. And of course, we've been doing as much as we can the yearly update meetings that we have held. So I think there's a lot of mechanisms already in place, and it's up to the citizens to take advantage of those and communicate back to us through the regular means. The phone still works. We've got emails and cell phones and green forms. So keep on communicating. Let us know what you are after, and we'll address them as best we can.
As I spoke about before, a multi-factor engagement strategy is how we would get the opinions of the citizens. I think, I'm really excited to hear that our council has invested in this iCompass technology, and I think that there might be a way that we can use polling through that technology, and that would enable you to communicate, okay, this issue's on the table, how do you feel, A or B? So I'd like to see us explore that technology further.
I think the best way would be to have a meeting every few months, just something like this. Be nice to see the town come out and we could sit down and talk about everything and everybody's concerns. So I think just maybe have like a town meeting once every few months, and people can talk about what's going on in the town and what their concerns are. I think just getting together and brainstorming is our best way to do it.
Right now, there's 3 avenues that you're able to go through. Number 1, everyone is welcome to attend any meeting. It's to the public. Number 2, you do deputation. If you have a specific problem or concern, deputation. Number 3, anytime there's a major bylaw passed, it's always open to the public. For example, the budget that was struck, there's always opportunity in the gallery to people ask questions. A bylaw for stop signs we have, it was an open, everybody had it, so there's opportunities currently there. So, and with live streaming coming on board, people will be in touch, in my opinion.
Is the township going to be working with the Hornepayne economic development?
Simple answer, if elected, yes.
Yes, I think it's very important that on all levels we communicate as a community together with the town council. Like as a town councillor, I work for you guys, so like we need to work together. That's the best way. Like you could sit over here and chirp, but you got to bring it to the table and talk. I think it'd be good to work with any avenue of people, like anything.
As I mentioned in my platform, we cannot work in silos if we want to get things done. So absolutely, partnerships are important, and the HEDC is a great partnership if we want to see our businesses and economy grow.
It's just a simple yes, like it just makes sense.
Thanks for the question. Of course, we will continue to work where we can with the Hornepayne Economic Development Corporation and spearhead that with an economic development officer that we're in the process of acquiring.
Yes, I don't know what the level of communication is with the EDC, but they are an important organization here in town, and absolutely we need to strengthen that communication plan.
I was going to make a joke, but you might not laugh, so I'll just say yes. What? Well, we're all going to say yes. There's 10 cats in the boat. There's 10 cats in the boat. One jumps out. How many are left? None. They're all copycats.
I'm elected to council. I look forward to working with the HEDC and everybody else, anybody that wants to partner.
First of all, I don't know if you guys realize this, but the Hornepayne Economic Development Officer, we've been talking about that for 8 years, maybe even longer. We were hoping as the HEDC, we would be able to work with the township in a closer way to do all the things an economic development officer would be doing. Of course, we're going to be working with the township. Of course, we don't want to block any walls. But there's issues, but.
Like the acronym says, Hornepayne Economic Development, I believe it's being underutilized, and it's done great things so far, but I think it has potential to do even more. So I would like to continue see the township continue working with them, and even working with them more as time goes on. Thanks.
My name's Danny Ward. I've been here for 53 years. About the NWMO, about the nuclear waste. Why you're for it, why you're...
I personally am for staying in the Learn More process. The final DGR, I can't say yes or no because I haven't learned enough about it. And I believe that's something that every one of us as citizens of this community should take very boldly and to look at both sides. So if you're not for it, you should be looking at the pro, like give both sides an honest chance, just like I lean towards the pro side, but I've enjoyed conversations and lectures on the other side. So I would have to wait and see until I learn more, but as of now, I'm for the Learn More, and I'm also for a plebiscite, if that's what everybody wants.
I know we're in the planning stage, and I know that's mainly what I only know about it. I know that it's an issue. I want to learn more about it. The money that the community is getting from this project, I think we'd be crazy not to take the money and use it for whatever reasons that we can. Hopefully it's for the help to sustain the community. When it comes to people protesting and all that, I think that's great because I think it's part of the process.
Well, I think you all know where I stand. I'm against it, and I got a little problem with burying 129 million kilograms of nuclear waste 20 kilometers from our hometown. Out of that 129 million kilograms, 410,000 kilograms is plutonium, which they'll have to extract at the surface before they bury it. I don't want to put anybody's life in danger, and if you're in for the money, well, if you're worth 49 cents a day, go for it.
Well, in my presentation, I said no. But, in fairness, I have paid no more attention to this than the man in the moon. So if elected, I might have to look into it. But as of now, I'm not in favor.
Actually, I'm quite glad somebody finally asked the question. Honestly, for you guys that don't know, I'm the chairman of the Hornepayne CLC looking into this project. I've been on the committee actually since its inception about 7 years ago. Been the chairman for what, 2 years now maybe? I could tell you that in 7 years I've traveled all over the country, met thousands of really smart people that knew all about this from different countries. And honestly right now, my mind's not even made up. I don't have enough education yet to make a clear determination on the process. That's what we're doing right now. We'll come to it at some point in the future here, in a couple of years. So I don't have an answer for you if I'm totally for or against it. Thank you.
Okay, I sit on the committee for the nuclear waste. Right now, I told them they can come put it in my backyard if they want. Doesn't bother me. I firmly believe that if they do find that this is the place that is good for it, whether we want it or not, the government will put it there. But meantime, while they're doing all their exploration, who knows? They might find another gold mine or whatever, you know. If they do, all the more power, because they don't want to be there anyway. So right now, until we learn more and the Learn More committee is in place, more people should attend the meetings and listen. Like, you know, you have your pros and cons, and I don't disagree with anybody who doesn't agree with it, whatever. We all have our opinion. So right now, I say go for it.
Thank you very much. Candidate Forster.
I don't think it's any surprise that I support the idea of having the DGR here in Hornepayne. The idea of taking plutonium out is completely false, a misconception that keeps on going, and it's just not going to happen. $22 billion worth of development for 150 years. You talk about sustainable funding for this community and the rest of the region. You're not going to get a better business here. Currently, there's nuclear generating stations in Pickering, and if you're worried about tourism impact, there's thousands of people living in Pickering, and their housing prices are in the neighborhood of $800,000. My dad bought a house there in 1975 for $125,000, and my brother lives in it for $800,000 now. The same thing goes on in the Bruce Peninsula. There's all kinds of tourism, and there's all kinds of money, and there's all kinds of jobs, and that's the kind of business that we can bring here with this nuclear waste deep geological repository.
Well, it's no secret where I stand on nuclear waste. As a steward for healthcare and a steward of the environment, it's not something that I can support. Also, I feel that if, ecotourism and agriculture is a route that we want to explore, the two cannot coexist. You can't attract people here for agriculture with a nuclear waste dump 20 clicks down the road. So I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you. I'm against nuclear waste dump site in Hornepayne because these brilliant, smart people that created it can't even fucking figure out how to... Sorry. I forgot to tell you at the beginning, I might swear. I'm a little rough around the edges, sorry.
Withdraw that, please.
When something like this touches me, I'm sorry, I might swear. But the people that created this can't even figure out how to use it. And they want to bury it in my backyard? I don't think so.
Thank you for that great question. Being on council and making a vote on behalf of the people, it's not my decision, it's behalf of the people. That's why I wanted a plebiscite, a non-legal binding. I wanted to see what the people are feeling. And my job is to vote for the people and the majority that decided that route. Not my position, not my answer, but the people that live in this community. Thank you.
So I've heard tonight from the councillors and the mayors that you're trying to attract business here. Well, as I said earlier, I'm working with an investment group that's looking at redeveloping the Hallmark Centre. And one of the portions of the Hallmark Centre they're looking at redeveloping is the pool. I'm wondering, as councillors on our new council, would there be something that our town council could do to support? How important do you think a pool is for the community?
Thank you for a great question. I'm a bit familiar with the pool. I worked there a few days. The problem is closed now for 9 years. That current pool, as you know yourself, there's a major crack in it. It was for the last 30 years. It was leaking. Number 3, mold and spurt. That's the difficulty we have with the Northern store. We never thought was in there. So imagine if the Northern store was just detached from the Hallmark Center, in a Hallmark Center itself. Apparently there's grass growing on the carpets. I'm not going to go and check it out. But yeah, if there was any way, possibly, partnership with some people, because we as community, that pool costed approximately $250,000 maximum per year. The cost, I don't think would be for it at the moment, but by partnership, I'd be 100% for it.
It would be nice to have a pool in Hornepayne, and I think someday we could, but I think first we just need to rip that mall down and put a garden there or something for now, But maybe one day down the road we could get a nice hotel here and a pool.
I think that if we are looking to attract funders as to reasons why we should have this pool here, we need to really communicate the importance that a pool brings to teaching our children to be safe around water. Also the benefits that come along with it for seniors and the exercise benefit that it has for those who are unable to perform exercises that is hard on the joints, etc. I also think that along with swimming lessons and all that education, it really teaches safety and how you can save a life. I remember when I was a kid here in Hornepayne taking swimming lessons at that pool. That really inspired me to go into the profession that I'm in now, which is healthcare.
Bob has nothing to say. Pass it on to Candidate Forster.
The situation of reopening the current pool is absolutely impossible. the structure is collapsing and it will not be able to be fixed. The idea of having a pool in town is a great one, and I think if we can partner with somebody to open a motel, restaurant and a complex like that along with a pool would be a great idea, but the town center is done.
Really, I'm going to say what Morley just said, but 2 years ago, I took it upon myself to go and take the blueprints and have a couple engineers look at the blueprints and at the building itself, and it's not repairable. It'll cost way too much. It has to come down. The pool is finished, unfortunately. I love the idea of having a pool. That was terrible when we lost it, but
I agree with Councillor Stefanic and our mayor. That pool is done. And when it did run under the 30-year plan, CN was involved in this. And CN, under their lease agreement, could use all the facilities for all their CN workers for free. So council of the day said, well, wait a minute, we've got all our kids and children here. That pool was subsidized by CN, over $100 and some thousand of CN's money went through the back door to Bomber and then to the council. So as far as that pool in that building, it's done.
Thank you very
We
much.
have to look at something else.
Candidate Fraser.
I don't think anything's impossible. I think if you maybe find some investors and you're willing to spend the money, I think they could do lots with that building. I carried every sheet of drywall in it. The walls consist of concrete. There's metal studding, there's BX wire and styrofoam. I believe if you stripped them and went back to the block and started from there, from the concrete, you could rebuild that building, but it would cost you a lot of money.
If someone wants to look into opening the pool here, if someone wants to open the pool here, I think we should look at, help them look into it. I have, one thing I have, when I think of my mother talks about fighting for swimming lessons for her kids long time ago. And I remember her taking us out to Second Government Lake to learn how to swim. And then they started swimming lessons at Cedar Point. All of this was run through the township of Hornepayne. When the pool closed, all the swimming lessons stopped. My thing is, why did that stop? Why did, when something was established as a service within the community and the pool was taken away, why did we stop having swimming lessons? Why isn't that service being offered when it was something that our community was fighting for in the past? If this guy wants to open up our pool, our kids can have swimming lessons here, then let's go for it.
If I understand you correctly, it sounds like there's an investor willing to look at opening our facility once again. And I'd have to agree with what Ken said. Nothing's impossible, but everything comes at a cost. So we as a community would have to look into how much dollars we want to spend versus what we're getting out of it. And we're talking about attracting businesses and residents into our community. A pool is a huge asset. What I see now is a big liability in the middle of our town. But if there's someone willing to come and invest in our community, I think as the elected leaders of the community would be irresponsible not to do everything in their power to make this work.
Good evening, my name is Mike Ford. Would you support a referendum by the town? Should a referendum be what the council decides needed, regardless of the answer?
I was very clear, plebiscite.
Yes, I'd support a referendum.
I would like a referendum.
No.
A vote on the process has always been in the plan, so I'll vote yes.
yes, a referendum is needed in time.
Yes?
Referendum, I believe in democracy.
I would support.